kiddos, it's Mr. Michael here with another Bible class video for you guys. I hope you are having a wonderful day and enjoying this beautiful weather that we have. We're still on lesson number 11 in our workbooks. It's called David's Son, Absalom. And if you remember from our video the other day when we talked about the story of David and Absalom, I promised you that we would be working on our memory verse a little bit more in this video. So here it is. Here's our memory verse. It comes from 1 Kings chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. And it says, David gave orders to his son Solomon. He said, I'm about to die, so be strong. Do everything the Lord your God requires. Live the way He wants you to. Okay, there it is. That's our memory verse. Wait, what happened? Where did the words go? Oh no, the words from our memory verse are missing. You guys are going to have to help me be on the lookout throughout the rest of this video so that we can find those words from our memory verse and get them back in the right spot and put our memory verse back together. I hope you guys remember what it said and keep your eyes peeled to be on the lookout for any of those words floating across our screen. So before we get into our lesson today, we're also going to go check out our word wall and see if we have a word of the day. Yep, there it is. There's our word. What's that say? Obedience. But what does obedience mean? That's a big word with lots of letters. It means following the instructions you have been given. That's what it means to obey, to follow instructions. Now, sometimes we think about obedience as being well-behaved, but did you know that everyone obeys something? Look at this verse in Romans chapter 6, verse 16. Don't you realize that you become the slave of whatever you choose to obey? You can be a slave to sin, which leads to death, or you can choose to obey God, which leads to righteous living. So this verse tells us that we can choose to obey sin, or we can choose to obey God. No matter what, everything that we do, we are obeying. Wait, what is it? Oh, everything. That's one of our memory verse words, isn't it? All right, we'll take it and put it over here and be ready to get that memory verse put back together a little bit later. So, as I was saying, everything we do, we're obeying something or someone, whether we're being selfish and obeying what we want to do, or if we're choosing to obey God. And so our word of the day is obedience. And in the memory verse, not the verse from Romans we just talked about, but our memory verse that we've been doing for several weeks now, it says to do everything that He wants you to do. So, He. Oh, I just said it. Yes, I remember now. Yeah, that's where that goes. All right, we'll have that one ready too. So, in our story for this week, we're talking about David's son, Absalom. Now, David had several sons. Some were good and some were not so good. The Bible tells us about Absalom and Adonijah and Solomon. Oh yes, Solomon. That's part of our memory verse too. All right, so the Bible tells us about Absalom and Solomon. But our story this week is about Absalom. And the people, the Israelites who lived during this time, they had a choice to make. Were they going to choose to obey God and follow David, or were they going to choose to obey Absalom? You see, there were a lot of people who were choosing to obey Absalom for the wrong reasons. They liked how he had his long hair that he was so proud of. He was young. He tricked people in trying to give them advice and he tried to make them like him instead of helping them to follow David and to obey God. You know, that's not really what it's like to be a good leader, is it? To be a good leader requires requires. Yes, that's right. Another memory verse word. So, to be a good leader requires being willing to follow God. And Absalom had pride in his heart, and he was not willing to follow God. He was not willing to obey. He did not have obedience. And so, Absalom went to the town of Hebron, and there he tried to get the people to make him king. And that's what he thought it meant to be tough. That's what he thought it was to be a leader. But that is not God's idea of what it means to be strong. Strong. That's our last memory verse word. Okay, now we've got all 5 memory verse words, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. Instead of the way we did it last time with working through each word, we're going to count to 3, and then if you can snap, just snap your fingers, or if you can't snap, maybe just clap your hands. And so we're going to do that on the count of 3, and we're going to make all the words go back to the right place and put it all back together. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. There they are. All right. Thank you guys so much for your help with the memory verse. Let's read it one more time. 1 Kings chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. David gave orders to his son Solomon. He said, I'm about to die, so be strong. Do everything the Lord your God requires. Live the way He wants you to. And so, if you remember from our story last week, they had the choice to follow David or Absalom. And even after David's followers won the battle and David was coming back to Jerusalem, he was still kind and showed mercy, even to the people who had been rude to him and said mean things to him as he was on his way out of town, leaving Jerusalem. And so there's definitely a lesson for us to learn in that. We can still be kind. We don't need to repay evil for evil. We can overcome evil with good. So, remember, everyone obeys something. We have a choice whether we will obey sin or whether we will obey God. We have a choice about which leaders we are going to follow, and the question is, are we choosing to follow the right leaders in our lives? And so we have a story from Doodleyville today to show us about following the right leaders. All right, are you guys ready to go see what our friends in Doodleyville are up to? This is Kristen. She is super excited because she is all packed up and ready to go on a camping trip with her Heritage Girls troop this weekend. When her parents drop her off at the campsite, she sees her friend Annie. Hey Kristen, Annie says, I want you to meet my big sister, Donna. She's a college volleyball player and pretty much the coolest person in the world. She's got her own car and everything. You're gonna love her. She's going camping with us this weekend. Just then, Miss Kim, their troop leader, walks up. Okay, girls, time to get started setting things up, she says. Everyone works together to set up the tents, gather firewood, and get ready for a fun-filled evening. Everyone, that is, except Donna. She just kind of stays off to the side doing things on her phone. Later on, as everyone is relaxing around the fire, Kristen thinks she hears Donna telling some of the other girls that she wishes she could be the leader instead of Miss Kim. So she listens a little more closely, and she hears Donna say several unkind things about Miss Kim. Donna seems to think she would make a better troop leader than Miss Kim, but Donna never really does anything to help anyone out. She just talks about all the cool things she does at college and how lucky these Heritage Girls are to have a real-life college volleyball player hanging out with them. Well, thinks Kristen, I don't know whether she would make a better leader than Miss Kim, but it's not every day you get to hang out with a college volleyball player. As it's getting dark and everyone is getting ready for bed, Miss Kim asks Kristen to take a bag of trash down to the dumpster. "Sure thing," says Kristen. "And, Miss Kim, do you think I could stay up a little longer talking to Donna?" "No problem," replies Miss Kim. "Good night, girls." After Miss Kim has gone back into her tent, Donna whispers, "I don't know why she thinks everything has to be done her way. A good leader could see that the bag is not quite full yet. We should just leave it there and put our trash in it after breakfast, then take it down to the dumpster." Kristen laughs nervously. "Yeah, I guess you're right." But really, Kristen doesn't know what to do. Miss Kim is a very good troop leader, but Donna is just so cool, and it's hard not to listen to what she says. Now Kristen has a choice to make. Will she obey Miss Kim and take the trash to the dumpster now? Or will she obey Donna and leave it until the morning? Donna and Kristen continue to talk until the fire dies down. Then Donna says, "I guess it's time for bed." As Kristen walks toward her tent, she takes one last look at the bag of trash and decides she will obey Donna and leave it until the morning. In the middle of the night, though, while everyone is asleep, a fox sneaks into their camp. He follows his nose straight to the bag of trash for a nice midnight snack. When Kristen wakes up in the morning, she can't believe her eyes. The bag has been torn into and the trash is scattered all over the ground. "Oh no, what happened?" shrieks Donna as she comes out of her tent. Then Miss Kim comes out to see what the commotion is all about. "Kristen, I thought I asked you to take that bag of trash to the dumpster last night." "Well, you did," Kristen responds. "But I just thought that it would be better to leave it until after breakfast, then we could fill it the rest of the way up." Miss Kim said, "Well, when you're camping, it's much more important to make sure nothing is left out overnight than it is to worry about making sure a bag is completely full. This is exactly why I asked you to take it to the dumpster before bed. If you leave something out overnight when you're camping, animals will get into it. Judging from the paw prints he left in the mud, I'd say it was a fox that did this." "Oh, I'm so sorry, Miss Kim. I should have obeyed your instruction," apologized Kristen. "I forgive you, Kristen, and I hope you learn from this. When I give you an instruction, you can trust me that I have a good reason. Even if you don't know or understand the reason, just trust me. That's what true obedience looks like." "I'm sorry too," said Donna. "It was me who told Kristen not to take the trash to the dumpster. That was bad advice. You're a good leader, Miss Kim, and we should all listen to you, myself included."